Genesis 22 gives us a beautiful story of Abraham taking his son Isaac to Mount Moriah to sacrifice him. It says in verse 1, after these things, that God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains of which I tell you. Next verse, so Abraham rose early in the morning. Now, we've been talking about experiencing God. First, we talked about how to know God and meeting God by his name Elohim, as we did in Genesis chapter 1. Now, what we're going to do today is talk about experiencing God, so that he is not just a God you have in your head, you know about, you can say, I met him, but now you experience him personally. And this is what's happening with Abraham. Remember, I said this several days ago, the Bible is a book of progressive revelation. When you get saved, you don't have a total, absolute, complete knowledge of God and all the things in the Bible. You, as a believer, begin to feed on the milk of the Word and grow into the meat of the Word, and you grow mature in your Christian experience. It works that way with God. You don't have this total, absolute, complete knowledge of God. Matter of fact, on earth, we never will. And honestly, I'm not sure we'll ever in eternity, because God is beyond us and always will be. He is eternal God. But he wants us to know him, and we can begin to know him better. But just having a head knowledge is not enough. We need to experience him. So God has a test. And so it says, so God tested Abraham. Now I want you to know, God's going to test you. You say, I want to know God. I want to experience God. God says, sure, I want you to experience me. So I'm going to test you. And so I'm going to check you out. So number one, now listen to this, the test of satisfaction. Now, this is important. The test of satisfaction. Now, remember, Elohim, he is all that I need. Is he really all that you need? Now, you ask yourself. Now, you say, he is all I need, he's all I need, he's all, and we sing the song and say it, but is that reality? God will test you. He did with Abraham. Now, Abraham waited a long time for this son Isaac. He had been promised a long time ago. He was 100 years old when he's finally born, and so he had waited a long time. Now, how do you know that you're going to pass this test of satisfaction? Number one, when God speaks, you will be attentive. God will get your attention. He has your attention. You'll know he's speaking to you. He speaks through his word. He speaks through circumstances. He speaks through other people. He might even speak through a preacher on a pastor's chat to you. But God is speaking all the time. Are you listening? Are you attentive? Number one, the test of satisfaction, you'll be attentive. Now, secondly, you will be affectionate. Okay, now Abraham loved his son Isaac. Matter of fact, God said, I want you to take your son, your only son, your son whom you love. And God's saying, okay, who do you love more? Do you love me or do you love your son? Do you love your job? Do you love your money? Do you love your retirement? Who do you love more? God wants us to love him with all of our heart, with all of our soul, with all of our mind. Now, that doesn't mean like he's on the top of the list of our priorities. That means he is a part of everything that we do in our lives. The test of satisfaction, is God really all I need? He is all I need. Well, that's my prayer today, that as we begin this part of the study, Experiencing God, we're going to look at this story of Abraham and Isaac and Mount Moriah and Abraham being tested. Well, God tests you. Does he have your attention? Does he have your affection? And then the third thing is you'll be accurate. Now, God said, I'm going to show you the mountain. I want you to do some specific things. And God wants us to obey specifically what he speaks to us about. You say, what does he speak to us about? Tune in tomorrow, all right? And we'll begin talking about that. Well, God bless. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and look forward to seeing you again when we get together, maybe not here on earth with some of you, but for sure in heaven one day. God bless.